Don't forget to come see us. Eventbrite.com or the Eventbrite app. Search a Jason Show and get your tickets. Tomorrow, Carolyn from Traders will be right here. Right now, though, I'm excited. This week, we have such good guests today, and this was one of the reasons when I woke up this morning, I was like, I get to go to work, because our guest today is an incredible musician who's worked with legends like Liza Minnelli, Linda Lavin, Reba McEntire, and Countess Luann. I did that for you, Billy. He's here where we're based in the Twin Cities for a show about the best songs from motion pictures. Audience, give it up for my friend, Billy Stritch. I know.
These people.
Well, and there would be more, but it's 30 below zero. So we had some cancellations, Billy. I'm lucky you're here.
I'm thrilled to be here. I love your new set.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
They did a really great job on it, didn't they?
They sure did.
And you know sets, my friend.
I know.
Look at you. You look spiffy.
Thank you. So do you.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. For you, I dress up.
I know.
Exactly.
We have so much. I told the audience, we could just sit here for 2 hours like we did last night and just talk. Can we start? I want to get this out of the way because I don't want to cry. You don't want to cry. We don't want the audience to cry. But there's no better person to pay tribute, especially for the youngins watching that don't know her brilliance. I'm sorry about the loss of your best friend, Linda Lavin.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We talked about Linda a lot last night. We could go on. Can you just encapsulate it? What doesn't the audience know about Linda?
Well, I mean, Linda is just an exceptional person. We met in the early 90s, and she was just immediately so accessible and so friendly. I mean, I think most people would know her from her television appearances. Certainly Alice is the main thing. But she was an incredibly accomplished stage actor. She won a Tony Award. She loved to be on stage, but there really wasn't anything she couldn't do. And she was working right up to the very end. I mean, she's actually going to be on a new series that's coming out. She was in the middle of shooting a new series.
Yeah, and it's called Audience. It's called Mid-Century Modern. And not giving anything away, I think it's okay to say she was incredibly proud of what we're going to see, right?
Yes, absolutely. The show starts airing end of March on Hulu, and it co-stars Nathan Lane, and Matt Bomer, and Nathan Lee Graham, and Linda. And it's sort of like a reverse take on the Golden Girls. It's three gay men who are best friends, moved to Palm Springs, and Linda played Nathan's mother.
Out of all the people that have gone through... Out of all the people that you've had in your orbit,
yes,
and I think you would agree, you've had people come in your orbit, just magical people. You're included in that. Is she just one of the most magical that you've had the pleasure of getting to know?
Absolutely. I mean, because like I said, we just took to each other immediately. I mean, we just related on so many levels. She was also a fabulous singer. And we worked nightclubs. We worked theaters and nightclubs together for almost 20 years. We recorded a couple of CDs together. She was incredibly musical, and we knew all the same songs, which was so fun. But getting to know someone like that who's had so much experience in different parts of showbiz, and you feel like they let you in all of it. I mean, we just really shared so much, and she is one of the most exceptional.
Yeah, you got to watch it when it comes out.
Yes, absolutely.
And all you youngins, just Google Alice and find out why Alice was revolutionary for women in television in the 70s.
It was, absolutely was. That's right. She played a working class single mom.
And you didn't see that.
No, you did not see that very much. And whenever we would do shows, invariably there would be people after the show, women mainly, that would say, I was raised on that show. My mom was a single parent and had to support us. And, so it was very inspirational. She really provided someone for people to look up to.
We're going to get back to some of your famous friends in a bit, but let's put the focus on you.
Please.
I felt... I fell in love with you here on our old set right over there.
I remember, yeah.
Because you were traveling with you and Jim Caruso's show Cast Party.
Yeah.
Can you explain to the audience why, if they're ever in New York, they got to stay through Monday because they got to go to Cast Party.
It's the most wonderful open mic night. We've been doing it at Birdland Jazz Club, which is iconic, for 21 years every Monday.
There's Jim.
There's
He's
Jim.
so
That's
shy.
Right. Yeah, totally shy. Jim is the host. I'm the musical director. I have a great trio behind me. And you can see we have a lot of great Liza's been there. Carol Channing came to see us in LA. A lot of celebrities, but also the best talent in New York, the best Broadway talent, the best jazz talent. And you just never know who's going to come in on Monday night. So if you are in New York over a Monday night, you got to come because it's the best show in town. It really is.
It really is, audience. I brought friends there, and even if you're thinking, oh, that's not kind of my thing,
it's your thing. It's your thing because it's not jazz. I mean, people think it's just. And I always say, if somebody, we have great people, but everybody only does one song. So if somebody gets up and they're maybe not so great, it's like, just wait 3 minutes, they'll be off the stage. So
Billy, you grew up in Texas, right?
I did.
Did you, like I always tell folks, I knew that I wanted to do something like this. Is music has always been part of your life, buddy?
It always has. I found the piano when I was really young. We had one in the house, so my earliest memories are just like trying to stand up to it and make noise from the piano. And then when I was about 6, my 2 older sisters started taking piano lessons, and of course that meant I had to take piano lessons. And about a year later, I had kind of surpassed them and were playing more advanced things. And they were so mad at me. And it was the first time in my young life that I felt like, yes, I can really do something that nobody else. So, I always kind of knew from a young age that was what I was going to do. And in terms of moving, I live in New York City now. And I really got into old movies, old movie musicals, and I really remember seeing the old Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers films, and what New York looks like in those movies, those Art Deco movies, imagining that that's what it was going to be.
Yeah.
It's not exactly that. I first came to New York in the 1980s, and it really wasn't that. But I always thought New York was the place to be, and I never regretted that for a second.
Speaking of the movies, you're going to find out why Jim's here, what's his show about, and we got to talk.
I'm Billy. That was Jim.
Oh, what did I say, Jim?
Yeah.
Billy.
That's okay.
Yeah. Billy, when we come back. Back in a moment.
Let's make it a birthday. We do it our own way. Yeah, let's make it a birthday.
More with the great Billy Stritch. Don't forget, if you're watching us locally in the Twin Cities, you got to go see him at Crooners on Thursday. But if you're not watching us from the Twin Cities, Billy, you travel all around.
Get on a plane and come to the Twin Cities.
That's right, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I travel all over. Yeah.
You do all types of shows. What is this show all about?
This show is about, we're talking about old movies. This is old, not all old, but this is some of my favorite movie theme songs. And it's quite an extensive list of people. I still haven't quite come up with the final list, but I do know there's going to be.
Billy, the show's tomorrow, buddy.
I understand.
Yeah.
I work really well under pressure,
Yeah.
I like to think. But I'm going to do some Fred Astaire material. I'm going to do some material by Alan and Marilyn Bergman. They wrote, you remember the movie Tootsie?
Yeah.
That great song, It Might Be You,
Oh, are you going to do that?
I'm going to do that.
Now I'm coming to the show.
Oh, good.
Now I'm coming.
That's what it was.
I
yeah.
love that. I love that song.
It's such a good song. I mean, so there's great songs from every era. So I guess the earliest ones will probably be from the 30s. I do a whole medley of songs from Singin' in the Rain, which is a 50s film, but the songs are all from the 30s. And I go up to the 80s, 90s, and it's a lot of variety. And I hope it's going to be good. I'm working on it.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
Well, we'll put information on how to get tickets at the end. We got to talk about Liza.
Okay.
Because
let's do.
Other than the fact that you were Countess Luann's musical director from The Real Housewives of New York. Watch Billy's face. Billy laughs that I bring that up to him all the time. Out of all the stuff, I mean, the man was nominated for a Grammy, and I'm bringing up Countess Luann. But anyway, you were. Good. That's when we fell in love.
It's all good.
But you were also Well, you are presently a dear friend of Liza Minnelli.
Yes.
You were her musical director.
25 years.
Can you please tell, we said this last night, Billy has a long version of how they met. Can you give me can you give the audience the TV version?
I can't. I was working, I had spent the 80s working with a vocal group, and we did quite well until we broke up. So I decided at that point, after living in Texas all that time, to move to New York altogether. So I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen next, and a dear friend of mine said, why don't you work in my restaurant a couple of nights a week at the piano bar? So it was great. It was a great way for me to start, get some money coming in, and every night I would go, he would say, oh my God, you just missed her. She was here last night. So I found out that Liza Minnelli was a supporter of the restaurant. I think she had invested a little bit in the restaurant. So after about a month of this, finally I go in one night and I see her with three other ladies in the back of the room. So I'm sitting there going, and by this point, I told you last night, I really knew at this point that, I don't know why, that I was going to know her. We were going to be more than just hello.
You felt it.
I felt it. I felt something was going to happen here. So feeling that way, I thought, well, how am I going to get her from the table over to me? And I thought, well, the worst thing you want to do is play one of the hit songs, even though they're great. But I thought, if I play New York, New York, that is so cheesy and it's so obvious. So I didn't do that, and I thought Cabaret, same thing. And I thought about it for a minute, and I remembered this beautiful movie theme that I've loved playing for years. And it's from a movie called The Bad and the Beautiful. And it was written by David Raxon, who wrote Laura. So that's 1949. This gorgeous theme called The Bad and the Beautiful. And I play this thing, and about 8 bars into it, I see her fork go up, I see her get up, and she starts walking in my direction. And it was a little daunting, but she was smiling so friendly, and I just thought, oh, this is happening. This is happening. So she came over. There was no one else at the piano bar at this time. It was early. And she came over and she sat right next to me on the piano bench. Now, she told me later, she said that I looked at her like, what are you doing on my piano bench? But I was just thinking, what is she doing on my piano bench? It was more like that. I couldn't believe it. And she said, I'm Liza. I'm like, yeah, right, for sure. Introduced myself. It was so friendly. And she goes, how do you know that song? And I said, well, it's from one of my favorite movies. It's one of my favorite movie themes. And she said, it's one of mine too. You know, my father directed that film. And I was like, yeah, I know. So that was my way to get her to me. And as I told you, as the night went on, more people joined us at the piano bar, people that were friends and everything. And she was singing, and we just never left each other's side at that point, And
that was March
7th, 1991.
1991.
Yeah, exactly right.
Billy last night knew the date. I met her on March 7th, 1991.
You don't forget a thing like that.
You do not.
You really don't. No.
More with Billy when we come back. Back in a moment, everybody. Oh, that was great. Oh, that was fantastic. Welcome back, everybody. It's Graham Norton time. Fallon's back on the couch. Fallon, you're in the Liza seat. Behave yourself.
I feel good about it.
That's right.
I feel good about it.
Aaron should be here, not me.
Here's what I don't feel good about. We did not bring her any cake. We did not bring her
I
any
know.
cake. It's
Fallon,
so
Billy ate your cake.
oh, yeah, it's all my
Oh,
fault.
well, you know
Blame
what?
me.
At least he has some remorse about it.
Okay,
I'm very sorry.
That is true.
Yeah.
It was a damn good cake.
It was
Billy,
a really
wasn't
good
it?
cake.
Yeah,
It
just
was-
saying.
I'm
yeah.
happy he liked it,
Anyway.
honestly.
Okay, we're gonna play a little game with you, buddy.
I had a feeling. Okay.
Yeah. You'll be fine. You'll survive.
Okay. All right. No cursing on the show, right?
There's no. I mean, Fallon does, but that's Fallon. Anyway, okay.
What are we playing?
We're gonna play this. We're gonna play First Impressions. It's a game that we love. I'm gonna show Billy and you a picture of a celebrity that Billy knows everybody, and you tell us a first impression or a quick story.
Okay.
Whatever comes to that beautiful mind of yours. Okay, you ready?
I am ready.
First, Reba.
Oh, Reba McEntire.
Reba McEntire.
Reba changed my life and my bank account. Back in the 80s, when I was working with this vocal group that I mentioned earlier, it was 2 women and me, and my friend Sandy Knox wrote a song with a wife and a mistress that we thought, and it worked really well live. And then the group broke up. 3 years later, Sandy, who's living in Nashville at this point, calls me up and she goes, Reba McEntire is going to record our song with a singer named Linda Davis. It's a song called Does He Love You? And it was recorded in '93, sold 5 million copies, and then 3 years ago, Reba did it again with Dolly Parton. So it's a Grammy-winning song. So thank you, Reba.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cha-ching. Thank you. Yeah, Reba
Thank
was
you
good.
for that.
Reba was
Yes.
good. Yep.
Okay, next one.
Okay.
Barbara. Barbara Streisand.
Oh yeah, Barbara Streisand is great. You know, I'm mentioned in her book actually.
I don't know
Yeah,
this.
no, she is.
Bjorn
She
told
is.
me this. You're mentioned in her book?
I'm mentioned in her book, which surprised me when I was listening with my dog. I listen to books and I'm walking with my dogs and I hear my name and I almost fainted. But there was she's great. I've never worked with her. I'm a huge fan. But there was a night in 1991 in the winter where Liza
91 was a good year for you,
It was a good
Billy.
year.
Yeah.
It was scary. We went to Sun Valley, Idaho to ski, and that was quite, there was a lot of celebrities, old school people that would have places there. And Barbara was there, and Liza and Barbara have known each other a long time. But Barbara was just thinking about going back on stage again. She had not done concerts in years. And so we're at this very casual little Christmas gathering, and Barbara said, Liza, I'm thinking about doing this, First of all, I had gotten up to play, somebody said, Barbara said, do you think Liza will sing tonight? And the host, who was Donna Karan actually, said, if there's a piano, Liza will sing. So we sang, and then Barbara said, I'm thinking of doing this again, but I'm very nervous about it. And we both sat down and told her why she should do it. Why, you've got to remember how great it is to. So we had a little something to do with that, maybe. And she talks about that night in her book, and it's chapter 38, page 787.
1991.
1991. So yes, Barbara.
You ready?
Yep, sure.
Lucille Ball.
Oh, well, I never met Lucy, but of course, just like everybody else, I love Lucy. And Lucy Arnaz, her daughter, is a very, very good friend of mine.
And Linda, there's a funny story that Billy cannot tell on the air.
No, I can't tell the story, but Linda Lavin actually ended up on, remember the movie a few years ago called Being the Ricardos?
Yeah.
Yep.
Linda, who when she was on Alice, her show was written by Bob and Madeline Carroll, who were Lucy's writers. Taking that one step further, Linda had a one-day shoot on Being with the Ricardos playing Madeline Carroll. So in the flashback thing, a woman who she knew.
Yeah.
So that was a very cool thing. So
It's more modern.
More modern. Okay.
Ariana Grande.
Oh, Ariana Grande came to a cast party at Birdland when she was 13 years old. And she was wearing a little party dress and already had that voice. Of course, she was just as cute as she could be. She doesn't come around so much anymore. But
But it proves, she says she's been like a fan and lover of musicals for years and
of
years.
course.
So.
I mean, with the Wicked thing, I think she grew up on Wicked and never dreaming she'd get to play it. I mean, that story changed her life.
Are there times at cast party where you and Jim, so someone comes up, they perform, and they walk away, do you and Jim know, like, they're going to do it? Do you guys have those moments?
Well, yeah, I don't know if we ever actually communicate those, but we actually, at the end of the night, goes, how about that girl? My God, she was great. And especially if they come in more than 1 week, then you can really get that they really are. That wasn't just a fluke, And so, yeah, you know when someone really has the goods, I think, for sure.
30 seconds. We're going to end with the best.
Okay.
Carol Burnett.
Oh, I'm so glad we had this time together, Jason.
I am too, yeah.
Well, I grew up on Carol Burnett. My introduction to the great songs of Cole Porter and George Gershwin and the music that I love and that I perform was actually hearing it first on the Carol Burnett show, because at the end of those shows, she would always have a variety segment or a musical medley with Steve and Edie or with different people. And that's where I first heard Gershwin and Irving Berlin. And I must have been like 9 or 10 or 11 years old. So Carol Burnett show was the way in for me to the great music. So yeah, and I've met her many times, and she's lovely. She's lovely. She is lovely.
And so are you.
Thank
great
you.
Billy
Thank you
Stritch,
so much.
everybody. As I said, if you're watching us from our home city, go see a show Thursday night at the legendary Crooners Supper Club. Get your tickets at eventbrite.com. If not, go see Billy at Cast Party in New York on Monday nights. We'll be right back. Back in a moment.
Yay!